Hello, icons. Welcome to our Tuesday afternoon mastermind session, guys. It's called Accelerated Breakthrough because we're going to do just that. We're going to give you the knowledge and skills to accelerate your breakthrough. Is it your breakthrough in finances? Is it your breakthrough in production? Is it your breakthrough in the what to say, the how to say it, the models, the systems, technology? We just want you to have a breakthrough in all aspects of life. And speaking to having a breakthrough, I want to invite each of you to engage in our Accelerated Breakthrough program. It's going to be live May 2nd, 1 week from today. 1 week from today. It's an investment on your part of 16 hours of live training, 1 hour a week. It's going to be done every Tuesday for 16 Tuesdays in a row. If you have to miss a session, that's okay. We record it and we send out the replay link within a couple hours after each session. And yet it can be yours for a low investment of just $497. Yet, if you use a promo code, then we're going to discount it by $50. That promo code is LIVE, L-I-V-E, L-I-V-E. Write it down. I want you to register for this program. I want you to register so much. We're going to throw everything at you in terms of value and benefit. We're going to throw in a Facebook and Instagram ad training program. It's valued at $1,500. It's yours for free. By the way, this is a screen by screen, click by click. Guys, a 7th grader can do this and generate leads for your business if they just follow the system. If they just follow the system, you're going to get full access to our entire library of content. There's 32 years of material that you can implement and deploy right away. You're going to get my buyer presentation. By the way, how many of you have ever closed over 100 buyer side transactions in a single year? Anyone? Well, this is the presentation that would enable you to do that, to literally get the buyer agency contract signed every time you have an opportunity to present it. I'm going to give you my listing presentation. My last year in production went on 162 listing appointments, guys, and converted 160 of those opportunities to signed listing contracts. It's a very high conversion percentage. You're going to get all of these goodies, again, over $4,200 worth of value and add-ons for just $457, or did I do $447? Sorry. Use the promo code LIVE, L-I-V-E. Go ahead and get registered today. We kick it off live on Tuesday, May 2nd at 12 o'clock Eastern. Is that right, Rob?
That's right. Absolutely.
Okay. Rob Daniel, by the way, who's an absolute rock star himself. He is, by the way, how many of you guys have heard of the Bold Training Program? Anyone? Bold Training at Keller Williams. Yeah. Well, Diana and I had the opportunity to collaborate and write that together. And I presented it myself for like 3 years. And I ran the program for another 6 years. And Rob was with a major margin between Rob and everyone else. Rob was the best Bold coach. He's presented to hundreds of thousands of realtors worldwide. And he was Bold Coach of the Year for 3 consecutive years. And then they had to give it to somebody else just out of pity. Yet Rob's going to be co-facilitating the Accelerated Breakthrough launch with me. And we're going to have a lot of fun. You guys, you're going to hear 2 separate perspectives. You can ask questions, get answers, form relationships with other like-minded people. And guys, I just want you to plug into this because the market has shifted. There's no doubt about that. And the strategies and tactics that you're using today that worked yesterday are not going to work tomorrow. See, change is inevitable, yet growth is optional. I'll say it again. Change is inevitable, yet growth is optional. And you're either green and growing or you're ripe and rotting. So it's going to take a different approach. That's what Rob and I are going to hone in on. And we're going to have you for 4 months to mold and shape you to be the person that you want to be, to do what you need to do and eventually have what you would like to have. So that's my big announcement, guys. We're launching live a week from today. I'd love to see you there. By the way, if you've taken it before, take it again. I'm not joking. Take it again. Imagine the first time you took it, you're like in the 2nd or 3rd grade. Every time you take it, it's like having a 3 to 4 year leap in your education. 8 times, 10 times, that'll get you through college, get your master's degree. And that's what we all want, no doubt. So thanks for letting me just start off with a commercial. I don't ever do that yet. Thanks for sticking around. Nobody's, flipping me the bird or hanging up. So that's a good thing. But we're just here transparently to add value to each and every one of you. And I'm so grateful that you made the decision to show up today. And Rob Stein, one of our rock star coaches here at Icon, he's going to take it away. And Rob, stage is yours, my friend. Have some fun today.
Awesome. Thank you, Sean. And this is fun because I'm an educator by nature, and this is just what I love doing. Real quick on Sean's Accelerated Breakthrough Gang. If you haven't taken it yet, you need to take it. That's where I met Sean initially, was about 3 years ago through his Accelerated Breakthrough. When I took it, I went from being in the top 10% of agents in the country to the top 3% of agents in the country. He helped me facilitate my team. And I own an independent brokerage now, which is in the top 5% of brokerages in the nation, according to sales volume and income. And you got to get the blueprint from someone that's accomplished what it is you're trying to do and who has a great track record of teaching others how to do the same thing, which Sean obviously does. And after meeting him through Accelerated Breakthrough, I think it was like week 2 or 3 that I was like, this is awesome. I engaged Sean as my one-on-one coach, and the rest is history. So if you haven't taken the Accelerated Breakthrough Gang, you got to take it. You got to take it.
Well, and by the way, if you haven't taken Earth to Orbit, again, I don't want this to be a pitch fest. I don't want you guys to ever feel like we want to sell you something. What we want to do, though, is we just want to open your mind to the opportunity to deepen and strengthen your foundation. And with the right foundation, and you can build your business as big as you want to build it. Now, Rob's generated a course that is really about how to really cultivate a core group of people that are going to refer you. By the way, would you guys rather have, I don't know, 200 internet leads or one rock solid referral from a trusted friend? Anyone? What would you rather have?
Give me that referral.
Give me that referral. A lot less work on your part, that's for sure. They're already pre-sold. They'll do what you ask them to do. So Rob has generated a program called Earth to Orbit. You guys, I want you to check that out too. I really do. See, your business, your production, heck, your net worth, it's going to grow to the extent that you personally grow. So man, just plug into anything and everything that you hear about. All right. So take it away, Rob. Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to give a quick plug. And again, nobody's hung up yet. That's a good thing. I promise we won't do this to you all the time. Guaranteed. We're just here to add value. Thanks, everyone.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sean. And that's, you can check that out at earthtoorbittraining.com/icon. It's really, as Sean said, it is about teaching you how to gain referrals. I have an exclusively referral-based business. I've never paid for a lead. I don't think there's anything wrong with paying for leads. I think it's just important for agents to be empowered to build their own business. So be sure to check that out. Reach out with any questions. Now, as we get started, because we got some good content today, videos on, please. Let's get the videos on. Unless you're driving, which you shouldn't be, you can tune in the audio. That's cool. But let's get your videos on. Like if you're stationary, your video should be on. Otherwise, you're just not going to get as much out of it. I guarantee it. Just like thank you. All right, Chuck, Mary Beth, Colleen, let's go. Right. Like if I taught this class like this today, it wouldn't be super engaging for you. And it's the same for me. I get more out of this and you get more out of it when I actually get to see the faces of the people I'm talking to. So I'm grateful I quit teaching by the time COVID happened, like to teach in a virtual screen of mask wearing kids. Like I can't even imagine how tough that must have been. So before we get started, I have some really cool content today, and then we're going to open up the floor. But one thing I want to know is, does anyone have a win that they want to share from the previous week? That's been a good win in your business. There's no win too small to be celebrated. Who's going first? Come on.
I can go if you like.
Carlos, what you got?
I got one of my listings went pending. I got a pre-construction contract that got the signatures back. The pre-construction should have them back.
Nice.
Yep.
Congrats. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Way to go, Carlos. Way to go, Carlos. Who else has a win to share?
I got one. It's not a total win. We're not done yet, but we're getting closer and it's looking like it might happen. I'm a former teacher too, master educator, all that stuff as well. And I've been working with this kid who reached out to me through socials that was moving here to Seattle from Louisiana because he's taking a job with Boeing. And I've been working with him, like teaching him how to analyze properties and coaching him up on the idea of like, hey, you don't have to be a renter. Maybe you can buy a multifamily or something like that. And like we've kind of been going through that route. This whole thing has evolved now to the point where his dad and his mom are going to move out here, move their business and LLC out here, buy multifamily with me. have his kid also live there, start building this whole thing with all the Boeing interns where we're gonna start building housing for Boeing interns.
Wow.
And then parlay that into picking up more properties, but we're not there on any of this yet. It's moving. It's been this process where I just started talking with this kid, teaching him how to analyze properties. And now we're like looking at doing all this other stuff.
Yeah.
It's been exciting. It's really fun. And it's as a teacher, it's been great to be involved in helping people reach their dreams of wealth building, so yeah, we're not there yet though, but
Well, that's awesome, Robert. Way to go, man. I'll say a prayer that comes together for you, buddy. That's amazing. And you never know where relationships take you. I was at a networking event in Nashville like a year ago, and there was a financial planner there, and I really hit it off with him. And I was already exhausted because I flew there from somewhere else. And I was just like, we had a newborn in the house and I was just very, very tired. And so the networking event was over and it was like, the day ended at like 5 or 6. And I was like, I'm going to go back to the hotel. I'm going to get some Grubhub. I'm going to get my PJs and turn on the TV and relax. And I was looking forward to that so much. And the financial planner, we had exchanged numbers during like a coffee break. And he sent me a text like, hey man, do you want to go like get dinner together? And my gut, like my initial gut reaction was like, no, I want to stick with my plan and get my Grubhub Mediterranean food and with all the meats and kebabs and put my PJs on, right? Mary Beth, what I'm talking about. And just like I see you nodding your head with me and just go back to the hotel and like veg out and go to bed at like 8 o'clock. Like that sounds like a little slice of heaven right there. But the professional in me, the multi-business owner in me told me, go. Because you never know where a relationship can take you. And your life could be one relationship away from being changed dramatically. Just like when I met Sean. That is a relationship that literally had life-changing impact on me. And so you just never know where one relationship can take you. So I was like, all right, I don't care if it's I'm going to meet with this guy because you never know. And he's a good man. And I want to form this relationship, and I didn't come all the way to Nashville to be by myself. So let's do it. And we had a great dinner and we really hit it off and it was awesome. And we've really stayed in touch. Well, he lives in Dallas. I live in Austin, Texas. So we're like 4 hours apart. And he gave me a call a couple months ago and told me that his parents, are kind of getting a little bit older and they need to sell their house in like what is the hottest area of Austin. And he was like, and we want you to sell it. Right. So aside from gaining a great friend, he's a good man. I get to help his family, which is a responsibility I take very seriously. That's like it's going to be like a $45,000 to $50,000 commission as well. And you never know. And do you think he knows other people like that live in that area and his parents do, right? And all the referrals that we can extract from that. So now, and that was like a year. Right. So sometimes it's also, I think some people we're just getting into some mindset stuff now. So hopefully you have a little pen and paper if anything I say resonates with you. I was talking about this yesterday with a coaching client of mine. I do mindset coaching in various industries. And we were talking about him starting to invest some money to scale one of his business aspects. And he said, well, like, what do you think the ROI is going to be on this thing? And I said, ROI is a very interesting topic when it comes to certain things. As an example, I can go to my social media director after, a long time of putting ad spend, right? Because I do organic selling with Earth to Orbit because agents need to hear about it. And we also do like ads and stuff. And so when you do it long enough, there's a way to predict what your return on ad spend is going to be. ROAS, they call it, ROAS. It's like ROI, but for internet ads. Return on ad spend. What's your ROAS? 2x, 3x, 4x. Okay. Well, then I can make an educated guesstimate based on the data and the experience of the person I'm hiring and the algorithms that if I spend, $1,000 on ads this month, I should get at least $4,000 worth of course sales. That's easy for me to justify that decision. Like those numbers are very like, duh, right? What's the ROI of having dinner with someone? What's the ROI of spending right? That networking event I went to was like a $5,000 weekend just for the ticket to get into the event, not including like the rental car and the airfare and the food. So that was like an $8,000 or $9,000 weekend, right? I didn't sell anything there, and I didn't go there to sell anything. I went there to learn about the topic of the event, and I went to network, knowing that when I go to those types of events, I implement what I learned very, 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 very fast. And I always make more money as a result of it. Sometimes it might take a long time. It might take 6 to 12 months until I actually make money as a result of like what I learned there. But you can't always quantify that kind of thing. You can't always quantify, well, like, what's the ROI of me having dinner with this dude? I don't know, but he's a good guy and who knows where it's going to lead. But if you learn something that spurs like some other awesome life-changing thing, there might not be a monetary ROI at that point, but if your life is way better, that's also a type of ROI. So the relationships are just really, really important. And that's just how I've built my business is like, I'm literally a world record holding business networker. I build my business exclusively on referrals. Next month, I'm set to close about 65,000 in GCI referrals. Never spent a dime on leads. And that's turned into like a pretty normal month, right? I remember, is anyone here that kind of agent who's like, you're struggling a little bit, you close a deal this month, nothing next month, you're doing okay, but you know, you could be doing better, right? Like, can anyone relate to that? It's okay if you can. It's probably why you're here, right? Yeah. And I remember like when I was there too, when I'm like, oh, I closed 2 deals this month. Like, wow, like I made 18 grand this month. That's amazing. What's next? Nothing. I have no one else in the pipeline. Right. And so, when that type of things become consistent, that's when life really changes. So Stephanie says 65K jeepers. I was happy about 20K. You should be happy about 20K, Stephanie. Let's give it up for Stephanie. That's a 20K month. Like, that's amazing. Like, you're statistically doing in like the top 10% of realtors in the nation with those numbers. You should be very happy. And the thing is that sometimes, like when I share the results of some of the students in Earth to Orbit, like one of my guys who's on my team in my company, in Dallas, his name is Matt, and he was a full-time teacher. He got licensed this past year in like September. And that's when we started working together, and we started working together right away. And he was like, I want to transition from part-time teaching to full-time, from full-time teaching to full-time real estate. Is that possible? And I was like, yeah, it's also going to be like literally the hardest thing you've ever done. It's not probable, and it'll probably take you years, but you can do it. Well, guess what? He's been averaging 1.5 closings a month, and he's about to quit his teaching job after like 6 months. And he's got like 7 deals in escrow right now. So if you've never experienced those kinds of results, you may say to yourself, that's unbelievable. It's believable when it becomes normal. It's not like when you talk to a top producing agent, that's totally normal. Totally normal, right? If you've never experienced those results, they're unbelievable. But once you realize what's possible when you know how to get referrals, when you know how to master the language of real estate sales, when you know how to extract referrals from people and build relationships and start attracting business instead of chasing business, it does become normal. And so like a month where you close 5 deals and make what might have been your previous year's salary in 1 month, that's now normal. And what you think is unbelievable, like when when Sean and I, right, when we started working together, about 6 months after starting my team, I had my first $100,000 month. And I was like, oh my God, let's go. Holy smokes. And then Sean is like, one of my other students closed 6,000 deals last year. Right. And I'm like, what? I closed 44. I'm like, let's go. 44 deals in a year, right? And he's like 6,000. And so, but also another reason to be around those types of people, because what you might think is like impossible is not impossible. People are doing it, which means there's a way to do it. So why can't you do it? You can totally do it. You can totally do it, right? You just need to know how. And so that's really the purpose of these calls, is for Sean and I to team up and help teach you how. because if you're here, you likely don't have a work ethic issue. You likely just have, I didn't quite get the information I need issue. Right? It's not like you're not willing to work hard. It's just like, you just need to know what to do, to where to put that effort. Like, dude, I'm willing to work hard. Just tell me what to do. Like, just tell me exactly what, like, how many, raise your hand if you think it would be a game changer for you to know exactly what to do every day to achieve the career you have in mind for yourself. Like, if you just knew you were doing the right thing, right? Yeah, totally. That's possible, like literally 5 minutes from the end of this call, right? Whether you engage in Earth to Orbit or Accelerated Breakthrough, it's totally possible, because then you're going to know exactly what to do. Okay. So like Steve says, I don't know what I'm doing. So as an example, like with my course, I have a master's degree in education and over 20 years teaching. And so I bring that teaching experience and the ability to convey information in addition to the knowledge that I've attained as a top producing solo agent and then a top producing team leader and brokerage owner. And so, if you went to the business planning section and went to the creating your schedule and looked at the daily blueprint and the daily checklist and had a time block, and literally I give you, I'll even, you guys want to see it? You want me to show it to you? Let me see here. I'm typing it up, pulling it up. Here it is, completely filled out template. Let's share the screen. All right, screen sharing. Tim gave me screen share. Thanks, Tim. So like as an example, this is just an example template that I give you. So one thing is like, if I just need to know, I don't even want to think about it, just tell me what to do. You would follow this template. From 8 to 8:30, you do some training. From 8:30 to 9, you do your workday windup. Your workday windup is simply the 5 or 6 things that I put on the daily checklist that have you getting ready for your day. So like, here's what that looks like. So this little handy dandy checklist, right? What should you be doing every day? Feel free to take a screenshot of this. Feel free to write this down. We're just kind of going organically here, but I feel like with the amount of hands that went up when I said, how awesome would it be if you knew exactly what to do every day? And so many hands went up, then I think this is a productive use of our time today. Is everybody cool with that? Yeah, awesome. Okay. And we're still going to have plenty of time for questions. Okay, promise. So if you brought a question to the table, we're going to get it answered. Now, here's exactly what you should do every day. So if you're one of those people that raised your hand and said, how awesome would it be if I knew exactly what to do every day? Then you should be taking notes right now. Or maybe you're already closing deals, but you're like, I'm closing a deal here, a deal there. I want to be closing like 3 deals a month every month. Okay, then you probably just need to make some tweaks to what you're doing. You may not need an overhaul, but once you learn one little thing that you apply, it could be a game changer for you. So here's exactly what you do every day. And in Earth to Orbit, I actually have like a 40-minute lesson explaining this document and explaining your day. So it starts with your workday windup. Now, your workday windup, gang, this is going to be kind of like the logistical planning so that when you start your income producing activities, you're not doing logistical stuff. You got to be zoned in. What you don't want to do is be like opening programs as you need them, logging in. Oh, I forgot my password. It totally takes you out of your zone. And so here's what you do. The workday windup, notice it says should be done prior to starting income producing activities. On the schedule, I have here, 8 to 8:30 is your workday windup. Income producing activities start at 8:30. So first, you open all windows and systems you need for the day. As an agent, you're going to be using your CRM every day, right? I use Follow Up Boss, whatever you use, KV Core, Salesforce, whatever. You got your CRM. You open it up, you log in, it's ready to go. You open the MLS. You're an agent. You better have that MLS bookmark, baby. Let's go. You got it open every day. You're cruising for listings for your buyers, right? You're doing reverse prospecting on your listings for your sellers. You're seeing what's going on in the market. So you got your MLS open. You got your monthly goal spreadsheet which again, I teach you in the business planning section. So you know how to run your business like a business, because most agents don't know how to do that. Most agents don't realize you're a business owner. You got your spreadsheets, you got your numbers, you got your profit and loss statement. Do you even know what that is? If you don't, you should check it out. Okay. And any other additional windows or systems that you use. So pretty much, gang, any piece of technology or software or a window or a website that you use throughout the day needs to be open, ready to go. So that when your income producing activities start, there is like literally nothing holding you back. Boom, 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 boom. That's part one. That just takes a few minutes. Your email and text audit. Now, how many of you, now this is a whole nother topic. I'm just going to take a brief little turn and we'll come back. How many of you as an agent feel like at times you're very reactive and overwhelmed during your day? I'm like drowning in communications. If I could get work done, if only people would stop interrupting me. Yeah. Well, there's no rule that says you have to respond right away. You think there is, but there isn't. And so one thing I teach in the course is that you need to time block your communications. And you simply express to your clients when you're available. But like I check email very specifically 3 times a day. I respond to text messages and Slack messages very specifically 3 times a day. And my clients know if they reach out to me after my business hours, I will get back to them at the start of the next business day. It's even written in my email signature. Write your business hours in your email signature. Pro tip. So you do your email and text audit. So like anything that came in after business hours, the previous night, this would be when you respond to it. So if I tell my clients I'm available till 6 and one of them sends me a text at 8:30, I don't respond because then they think it's okay to text me at 8:30. So I will respond at the start of the next business day. They also know, like, if I have an active transaction and it's outside of normal business hours, I will communicate and do what it takes. But outside of an active deal where like stuff's on the line, I'm not going to respond to my clients outside of business hours. And they know that, and it's all good. You review your daily goals from the spreadsheet. So you just, okay, what are my daily goals? I know what my schedule is going to be. What are the big 3 things I got to accomplish today? And you review the calendar events. You make time to prep if necessary. And then you're good to go. That's the workday windup. It should take 20 to 30 minutes. Now that stuff is all done prior to starting income producing activities. So it's not like you start following up with your leads, then you open the MLS and this stuff is all done, ready to go. So you're unencumbered. Now your daily essentials. If you got one thing out of it, let me tell you something. In the next 3 minutes, I'm going to tell you exactly how to make at least $250,000 a year and how to close at least 3 deals a month. I'm going to tell it to you in the next 3 minutes. I swear to you, this is not an exaggeration. The question is, are you going to do what I'm about to teach you in the next 3 minutes over the course of every single day? That is up to you, but I'm telling you, literally, no exaggeration. This is the secret. You ready? Here's exactly what you do. Okay. First, minimum 10 conversations every single day. Now that's a phone call or a face-to-face call. It's not a text. It's not a text. It's not a Facebook comment. It's not a DM. It's not an Instagram. It's not a tweet. It's a direct conversation. In person, belly to belly, face to face, or a phone call. Now, if you're looking at that, you're like, how am I going to have 10 real estate conversations? Now, I had an agent on my team. He's not on my team anymore. But like, he didn't really understand the meaning of this. Like, he's like, I'm at the gym and my buddy says, how's the market? And I talk about the market. I'm like, bro, that's not a conversation. It's not a real estate. That's not what I mean. Right. This is like you're talking to someone that, even if they say no, right, you're talking about working with them. It could be a cold call, could be a referral, it could be a one-to-one, could be asking someone, do you know anyone looking to buy a home or sell a house or invest in real estate I can call today? That is a direct conversation. You do 10 every single day. Minimum 10 social media interactions every single day. Not a like, I'm talking about a comment, a sharing, a DM. You have 1 social media post per day. It doesn't have to be about real estate. In Earth to Orbit, I tell you exactly the type of posts to do and the type of posts not to do, because that's also really important. Minimum 1. Now, keep in mind, gang, this is if your business isn't where you want it to be. If your business is where you want it to be, if you're making the amount of money that you're really happy with, and you're not cold calling and you don't want to cold call, like, fine. Okay. What drives me crazy is when agents aren't getting the results they want and they're like, oh, I don't do open houses. I don't cold call. I'm like, you don't have the right to be picky right now. That's like if you're literally starving to death and you're like, oh, I don't eat red meat. I'm like, well, then you can starve to death. Now's not the time to be that picky, right? Not that there's anything wrong with not eating red meat. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, if you were literally starving to death, you probably wouldn't care what you were eating as long as it would keep you alive. I'm talking about like if you were literally going to die if you didn't eat food today, you wouldn't care. Is it edible? I'm going to eat it. That's what's happening if you're not making money, because we eat what we kill, hopefully 30 days after we kill it, if it stays dead. That's how we make money. So minimum 1 to 200 dials per day. That's 500 to 1,000 dials a week. And what scripts are you going to use? Well, you're going to use the scripts that we provide. You're going to do your lead follow-up. You're going to do your lead generation. You're going to check active listings for buyers. Now, Wednesday is the day I like to schedule open houses. Okay. You should be doing at least 6 open houses a month. If your business isn't where you want it to be, 6 open houses a month. That means you're going to have some Saturdays and Sundays where you do Saturday and Sunday. Now, you don't have to do that forever. Okay. I haven't done an open house in like a couple years, but guess what? I did them until I didn't have to do them anymore. I don't cold call anymore, but you can bet your booty that I did when I didn't have any closings. So you do 6 open houses a month, and you use the at the open house script and requesting an open house script that I give you. But you want to schedule open houses on a Wednesday. I like Wednesday because the house is probably still going to be on the market by Saturday or Sunday. I'm sure if you've been doing open houses, then you've inevitably had a time. I sure have. My students have. When you schedule an open house on a Monday and then Thursday, they're like, we're under contract. And then you don't have time to do an open house because they're all booked. So I like Wednesday for scheduling open houses in the morning. Friday, you do your self-accountability form that I teach you how to do. You have at least 1 one-to-one per week with each lead bucket that you have or community group. So you should really be doing at least 3 to 5 one-to-ones per week. Gang, that's it. If you can check every single box on this sheet every day for like a year, you will have more money than you can possibly imagine. You'll have a fuller pipeline than you can possibly imagine. You will never have a month where you don't close a deal. The question is, how do you do these things? That's what you invest in education in, right? Because I'm telling you, if you do these things at a high level, I guarantee you're going to make at least $250,000. You're going to be in the top 5% of agents. You're going to be closing deals every single month. The question is, how do you have 10 conversations a day? What do you say to these people? What don't you say to these people? What do I post on social media? What do I say to my 1 in 200 dials? How do I secure an open house? How do I set appointments at the open house, right? That's what you have to like invest to learn about. But if you do these things at a high level, I mean, come on, let's go. Let's go. Does anyone have a copy of the PDF? I'll tell you what, Angel, and I see in the chat, does anyone have a copy of the PDF? I'm going to put in here my email. It's rob@robstein.com. Go ahead and shoot me an email and just tell me, hey, Rob, can you give me a copy of that daily checklist? And I will email you a link that you can download it. Okay. Now you do your workday wind down after that. So it's really just like the opposite of your workday wind up. You wrap up your CRM, okay? Because we've all had time during the day where you're the text to call. You got to tidy up your CRM at the end of the day. Even if you do it all at the end of the day, any conversations you had with people, any traction you made, saw this property and it didn't work out. This person told me their kid's into baseball. I'm going to write the kids into the baseball, into the CRM so that I can remember and talk about that next time. That all goes into the CRM. You review tomorrow's goals. You get your mind right for the next day. You update your accountability sheets. You do your final email and text audit for the day, meaning anyone that texted you or emailed you or Slack messaged you or whatever, reached out between the last time you checked your communications and now, you get back to them and then you stop. You listen to me, you stop after that so you can have a decent quality of life and not burn out. And anything that you didn't do today, you simply reassign to a different time on the calendar. And here's why I created the daily essentials. Oh, by the way, forgot to tell you, all this needs to be done before lunch. Daily essentials, all done before lunch. Okay, gang, if you'd like a copy of the sheet, please don't Don't put your email in the chat because I'm not going to copy and paste it, and like just send me an email at rob@robstein.com and I will be more than happy to send you the link to download it. I promise. Okay. I'm just actively, doing my thing right now. So I'm not going to be able to do it that way. So just shoot me an email, rob@robstein.com. I'll send it to you. This daily essentials all need to be done before lunch. Why do you think? Who's going to unmute themselves and tell me, why does it need to be done before lunch?
Because you need to go on
All the daily
appointments
essentials.
afterwards.
What's that?
That's when you're
Angel, one more time.
freshest in the
You have to go
morning.
on appointments afterwards.
Yeah, that's right. And that's what we see here on the, I'll go back to the daily schedule template. Now I teach you how to form your own schedule, but in the course, if you're like, I just want the Rob tell me exactly what I need to do so I don't need to think about it method, this is literally the sheet that you get so you can just follow this. So you
You're also
see I
fresher
have,
in the morning too.
what's that?
You're also fresher in the morning. You do this.
Oh,
kind of work.
100%. That's right, Steve. No doubt about it, buddy. So you can see like I check my email and messages during my workday wind up, during my workday wind down, and for 15 minutes after lunch, because that's all it really takes if you're very focused on it. The afternoons are for appointments, buying consults, listing consults, one-to-ones with your SOI and community groups. So mornings are for IPAs, income producing activities. Afternoons are for appointments and building relationships. And that's really how you do it. Now, here's another thing. When do fires come up? Afternoon. When does all the hoopy hit the fan? Afternoon. Right. So the thing is, as an agent, you realize, I mean, has anyone ever had that? You think your day's going this way, you get one phone call and like, skirt, right? All day now, your whole day. Okay. So when you get everything done in the morning, like in the first 3 hours of the working day, so like, 8:30 to 11:30, 8:30 to noon, and then like you've done every income producing activity. Well, then no matter what happens, you're now primed to continue growing your career. Even if I got to run out and save the day over here with this, I got to spend the next 6 hours on one deal that I'm going to ignore everything else. At least you've done your IPAs. And here's the thing. What's your number one job as an agent? Who can tell me what is your number one job as an agent?
To generate leads.
Yep. That's right, Angel. Prospecting. Generate new business. Every day, you must move the needle closer to making new money. Has anyone ever closed a bunch of deals and then had nothing in the pipeline? Probably because you didn't keep generating new business. Am I right? I made that mistake. The first time I had like a few deals in escrow at the same time, and I didn't hire a transaction coordinator yet. Big mistake, hire a TC. And I just focused on, I'm like, wow, I closed all these deals and made all this money. What's next? Nothing. I have nothing. I got to start over again because I didn't focus on making new money. Or you spend all day being busy, but not productive. Anyone ever had a day like that? You're like, oh, what a busy day today. But I actually didn't move the needle closer to making any new money today. You don't want those days. And so prospecting is your number one job. That's why, as long as you do the daily checklist every day, always going to be crushing it. Okay. Always going to be crushing it. So if you want that daily checklist and you want the opportunity to check out more resources, go ahead and just shoot me an email at rob@robstein.com. I'm going to send it over to you. I want to share one quick story from something that happened today as a little mindset, and then we'll open up the floor to questions. Okay. All right. I'm going to share was that helpful, by the way? Kind of breaking down the daily essentials. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. So share the screen again. I'm showing a property tonight to some really good friends of mine. I typically don't really show much anymore. I have showing agents, but this is a very good friend, so I'm going to be handling his deal personally. Now, this property, can everyone see that property history little thing? Yeah. This property was withdrawn and is relisted a couple days ago. This is the property history. Now, also in the course, in the working with buyers class, by the way, Earth to Orbit is all online. So that's one cool difference. Like, depending on what you like Sean's class is 16 weeks of live. If you really like the live stuff, that's 100% where to go. Maybe your schedule is a little crazy and you want to do something completely tech, all online with no live aspects, then that's what Earth to Orbit is. It's all online. Now, I do have live calls like this you can come to if you want, but it's not part of what you're paying for. It's just like a free bonus. So it's all online. So in the working with buyers course, I teach you how to show a property. So when a buyer says, hey, I want you to see this property, you say, okay, what do you do to set up for a successful showing? Well, one of the things you do is you look at the property history. Why do you look at the property history? Who's going to unmute themselves and tell me, why do you look at the property history?
Because I want to know what's going on with it. Price reduction,
yeah.
if there's any issues, inspections, how many times did it go on? Like, I've had one property where like it's been under contract like 3 times. Like why does it keep falling through? What's kind of going on? I'm a detective.
Yeah, I can tell, Stephanie. I can tell that, no doubt about it. That's 100% right, gang, because you can learn a lot, right? Has it been on the market for 3 months and had a couple price drops? Okay, they probably want to sell that thing. Has it been on the market for 3 months and had no price drops? That seller might be crazy with their pricing. Has it been on the market for 3 months and it's had 3 contracts that fell through? Oh, probably an issue with the house. So you can tell a lot about the property just with the history. Is it expired? Is it withdrawn? A lot of things you can tell. So this is the previous listing. So it recently came back on the market like 4 days ago. But this is the property with the previous listing. So who can tell me how long was this property listed for before it was withdrawn?
96 days.
Correct. Thank you, Carlos. Just a little over 3 months. Okay. Now they had some price drops. What is one really weird thing that you see about this property before it was withdrawn?
They raised the price back up, so they probably fixed something that was an issue.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe not. That's just really weird, right? That's really weird to see a price go up and then terminate. So that whole thing was just like, a little odd. Okay, now what was the original listing price of this property? Who can tell me?
549.9.
That's correct. 549. Thank you. Okay. Next screen share. Give me a second to pull it up. Yes. Here we go. Okay. Thanks for your patience. Now, in most MLSs, you have a like a section of agent only remarks where you can see comments your clients can't. Who would like to read this out loud? This was the agent only remarks on the withdrawn listing, not the current listing, the withdrawn listing. Who can read that? Okay, Virginia, go ahead, please.
Oh, I had raised my hand about something different. So in our market, because a lot of homes are selling for over list price, we actually increase our, as soon as a home goes under, like once we have a contract, before we change it to under contract, we do a price change and we increase the price to match whatever the contract price is. Because especially the last couple of years when we were having appraisal issues, it did help with appraisal a little bit.
Yes. And we saw the same, thanks for sharing that. We saw the same thing here, especially if a property had like 10 offers and you want to let the buyer agents know, is it worth time submitting an offer? Like they would change the price. So that's correct. That's not what happened here. So that's why it was very odd. But that is one reason the price could go up. It just wasn't the reason this one went up. So who would like to real quick, just participate, read this private remarks out loud? Okay. Michelle, go ahead, please.
Sure. Seller's circumstances have changed, so they will be moving back into the home. Sellers request not be contacted by other realtors, because if they list again, they will be listing with current realtor who is a friend. Please respect the seller's request.
So the listing agent, thank you, by the way, Michelle, for participating. Appreciate that. So the listing agent is saying, hey, my clients who are my good friends have requested that you do not contact them, capital N-O-T, because if they list again, they're going to be working with me. Please respect their wishes. A little odd to put in the private remarks, but okay. Well, guess what happened, folks? It was listed 4 months later with a different agent. I was cracking up. I'd show you the actual MLS. I'm not permitted to, but I just thought that was so funny because she's like, these are my clients. They've requested not, right? So why would that have happened?
Probably for the
Somebody
same
scooped
reason
the
they didn't
business.
sell the house.
Yeah, they didn't sell the house. Maybe they're not as good of a friend as they said, right?
Or they
Maybe they're
quit
not
being a
as-
real estate agent.
Yeah, maybe they're not as good an agent as they thought. Maybe that was complete BS in the first place. And none of that was true. And she was just saying, hey, all of you aggressive agents calling expired and withdrawn listings, don't take my clients. Right? Because if you're calling withdrawns and expireds, you should be checking previous listings before you make that call. So here's what I want to know. Here's the reason I shared that with you, besides the fact that I think it's just really funny. And let's be very honest with each other, okay? Because this is part of the mindset lesson for today. Who here, if you were prospecting for withdrawn and expired listings, and you're looking at the property history, and you read those remarks, who here would have then thought, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to call this seller. I'll skip over it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We got a lot of hands up, and I guarantee there's at least a few hands in here that were like, I want to raise my hand, but I don't want to raise my hand in front of all these people. And this is we're all a family gang. You know, it doesn't matter what brokerage you're with. We're all here to invest in our own education. Okay. So please, you're only hurting yourself if you're not holding yourself accountable. So if you wanted to raise your hand, but didn't, no, I'm not going to, don't beat yourself up over it, but I'm saying like, you're going to have to hold yourself to higher levels of accountability if you really want to get to where you want to go. Okay. I bet a lot of agents, including, you know, obviously the ones that raise their hands, would have like skipped over that for fear of rejection, or probably maybe you're already have some call reluctance anyway. And then you're like, that's an easy excuse not to make that phone call. Oh, it's not my fault. They asked me not to. You must pursue everything as an agent. Again, you only eat what you kill, right? Imagine if you're literally starving and you're going hunting and you got your little bow and arrow and you're like, literally your ribs are showing, you're starving to death. And you see this animal and you're about to go for it, but you're like, oh, but you know what? What if someone else is trying to kill that thing? They need to eat too, huh? I mean, I don't know them. They're not part of my family, but looks like that guy over there might be trying. So I'll leave this one alone. Nope, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do it. And so you have to pursue everything. You have to pursue everything. As an example, you know, in Earth to Orbit, I teach you the goal of every open house is to walk away with one appointment. And I teach you the language on how to exactly secure that appointment every time. Part of that is getting ready for the ABC script, the action benefit commitment script. So let's say you're asking this question, which you should be asking. Do you have an excellent buyer specialist like me helping you find the perfect home? And they say, yes. What's the next question you ask them? What's your follow-up?
Who would that be?
That is one option, JT. That is one option. What is a potentially better option?
Did you sign a buyer agreement?
Let's go, Roger. Let's go. That's right. Do you have a signed rep agreement with this person, or are you just talking? That is the question. Because most people don't even know what it means to work with an agent, right? When 90% of the people say yes, it means, oh, well, you know, I called this agent on Zillow and he like showed me a property a month ago. So did you sign anything? No, we didn't sign anything. Do they have an agent? No. No, they don't. And you better pursue that person to convert them and set that appointment and make them your client. And so when you perceive that someone might be another agent's territory, you must pursue. You must pursue survival of the fittest. There's a reason over 80% of agents don't last through their first renewal in the first 2 years. Okay. Because they're not aggressive enough. Now, you're not going to be pushy. You're not going to be disingenuous or unethical, but you must prospect. You must lead generate. So you ask them, do you have a sign? Now, if they say, yes, I have a signed rep agreement, you don't pursue. That would be unethical. That's where you give them a card and say, well, I'd love to be your number two, should it not work out. And that I've gotten business that way before. But if they say, nope, you go for it. You see a comment like that in the MLS, you go for it. Okay. You must. It is your obligation. All right. Who has a question? Who has something we can help you with today that if we were to address it, you'd leave this call going, oh boy, that was an 11 out of 10 right there. Let's go. Come on. What you got? Transaction, mindset, lead generation,
You
lead
discussed
conversion. Colleen.
stated hire a TC. What is your best advice on hiring a TC and the checklist to train them?
Oh,
I've
that's a
had
great
two.
question. That's perfect timing because I went over this in detail on another mastermind I did earlier today. So gang, I think we have about 8 minutes left in this call before Sean needs the Zoom room for something else. So start writing because I'm going to go fast and furious. Okay. And if you have any other questions or need additional clarification, send me an email at robstein.com. TC does the contract to close. So you get the executed contract. You've already signed your buyer seller agreement, but now you're under contract. And if you've closed at least one deal, you know that it's actually more time consuming getting the deal to the finish line than it is getting the contract in the first place. You got to make sure the inspections, the earnest money, the inspection fee, the amendments, is the appraiser scheduled? When is the appraisal scheduled? When's the financing deadline up? When is this up? When is that up? When's closing? Do we have to move closing? Right? It's crazy. It's so much work. And the problem is that if you're doing all of that yourself, which you shouldn't be, because there are other people that can do that for you. But if you're doing it yourself, you realize how time consuming it is. And if you're doing that, you're not prospecting for new business. You're going to make way more money, just like I did, when you hire that TC and you have more time for better quality of life and new business. So how do you get a TC going? Well, first thing is, gang, I recommend you ask an agent, like some agents in your area, local social community, Facebook group, or at a networking event, ask for TC recommendations. You want to get, I believe, TC recommendations from people that have personal experience with them rather than just looking on Google reviews. There's nothing wrong with Google reviews. I think it's better to find like personal referrals. Okay. So you get some recommendations. Then you interview people. You interview them. They're not interviewing you. You're interviewing them. Here's some questions you should ask. Number one, do you have experience with insert your CRM here? Because your TC should have access to your CRM. If you use Follow Up Boss, they should know how to use Follow Up Boss. If you use KV Core or Salesforce or whatever, they should know how to use that because they're going to dip in there to get client information. That way, when you go under contract, you don't need to give them your client's phone number or email address. They can just dip into your CRM and get it. If you store your buyer rep agreement or whatever disclosures in there, and they need to download a company disclosure to send out, okay, then they do that. Right? I know for the EXP agents on the call, you have an affiliated business arrangement. You have disclosure of relationship with residential service company. They can dip into SkySlope, pull that right off and get it. You don't have to do that. So do you have experience with the CRM that you use? Okay. Your TC is going to have access to your digital signature software. They're probably going to be sending out amendments for you. Or if you forget to do something, or if they need to, if you've, you shouldn't have to send them the executed contract and the buyer rep agreement and all the disclosures and the wire fraud, because it's already been signed and it's in your DocuSign or Zip forms. They have the info, so they can just go in and pull it. So how do you do digital signatures? Are you going to use my software or do you have your own subscription? You use DocuSign, I use Zip forms. Do you have experience with the Zip forms? Because I don't want to have to send you anything. I want you to be able to go in my Zip forms and download it yourself. So CRM, digital signature. Are you able to add things to your workflow? As an example, here in Austin, there's a company called Sign Otter. They install all of my listing signs and lockboxes. I don't physically have any of those. I rent the beautiful white Colonial Post. All of my for sale signs and listing signs and riders are at their warehouse. All of my lockboxes, Bluetooth lockboxes are at their warehouse. When I have a listing, go onto the Sign Otter website. I want you to put this sign and this lockbox at this property on this date. I don't do that anymore. My TC does that for me. When the listing is going to close, they go into Sign Otter and schedule the company to come and pick up the sign in the lockbox and take the key out of the lockbox and give it back to the client. I don't do that. When we close a deal, the TC sends the client info to my assistant, who then puts them in our system to get a Google review from them. So I asked the TC, are we able to add little customizable things to our workflow for my business? Yes. Is that going to cost extra? No. Sweet. If it does, okay, fine too. I'll do that too. So I think those are the three main things: experience with the CRM, the ability to do digital signatures and understand, are they using their subscription? Are they using your subscription? Do they have experience in your digital software? So that everything can be in one place. Can we customize a little bit? And then you want to know their prices. You get what you pay for. Don't find the cheapest one. They're probably not the best. Just like you get what you pay for with you, and you don't discount your commission for a reason. So you want to make sure you interview. And then what I recommend you do is you try a few of them. I tried a few, like a small handful, before I found my current one, who is so good. Like, you want to find a TC that is so good, you give them a contract and you forget it even exists because they got it on lockdown. Oh, here's another question. Do you schedule calendar events? Like, when I get a new executed contract, I get all of the inspection date is done here, and the financing contingency is here, and this is when the money is due, and this is when the inspection is, and this is because if I'm closing, I close 7 to 8 deals a month, and I don't, when is closing date for this property? I can just look on my calendar and type in the address and see all of the important dates for that deal right there, because the TC does it all. She gets the contract, they all pop up. So do you have access to like Google Calendar, iCal? Do you do calendar events? Because not all TCs do calendar events. And gosh, that's awesome. You shouldn't be doing your own calendar events. So those are really important things for TCs. Try a transaction here, transaction there. Once you find the right one, you stick with that person. Okay. Jackson says, your DIY course videos. Yeah, so it's interactive videos, actually. It's really a one-of-a-kind thing. It's about $150,000 in 2 years to develop this custom platform. So it's actually interactive videos, almost like this call, except it's a video. There is a members only group. So like people that do accountability, we have 2 live calls a week. We do a Monday mindset and accountability, and then a Tuesday mastermind at 11 a.m. That was earlier today. We also do script role play, group script role play. I teach you how to find other members, because right in the platform, there's a social community. So you can click the community button and see all of the members, the leaderboard. You can DM anybody, and you can find accountability partners, script role play partners, and more. All that info is on the website at earth2orbittraining.com/icon, which I put in the chat earlier. And again, if you want more info about that and you just want to check it out, or you want the daily checklist, shoot me an email at robstein@robstein.com. And here's the deal. I'm not going to try to like sell you. I shouldn't have to convince you that you need to be great or that you need to invest your education. I can guarantee you, if you want to take it to the next level, it works. But I'm not going to try to convince you to buy it if you don't want to. Like, that's not what I do. Right? Just like you don't want to have to convince someone to sell their house. They either want to sell their house or I shouldn't have to convince you to be great. Right? If you're ready to be great, you should check it out. If you're not ready to be great, don't check it out. Right? But go ahead and shoot me an email with anything you want to know, or if you want that daily checklist at rob@robstein.com. I believe that's our time. And I'm going to be right here next week. Please show up with your questions, right? You got questions, write them down, be ready to go. But I know that Sean needs this room. So I wish everybody a blessed day, a wonderful income producing day. Let me know what I can do to help you. And thanks for coming here from Icon Coaching. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.